Hey kids, it's Jurassic James, and this Jurassic Explains, we're looking at Quilmesaurus. So, this is a shock. This is a surprise. What happened here was I had no idea this dinosaur existed until I saw this toy in Walmart. The animal was discovered, well, there was a university in like 1980 digging in Patagonia. They found the remains of it. It wasn't until 2001 with Rodolfo Correa, the same guy who named, one of the guys who named Dinosaur, actually named this Quilmesaurus. Quilmesaurus referencing the Quilme people who were Native Americans to Patagonia. Now, side note, we always assume Native Americans mean North America, but also it means, well, we who are not anthropologists assume that. But yes, there are Native Americans in South America. So Quilmesaurus means that. I will open it first and then tell you why it's a surprise to me. So I will take the official scissors of Jurassic James. Release the Quilmesaurus. Super easy. So looking at this animal, when I first saw it, my first interpretation was, what a generic looking abelosaur. I knew from the tiny little four-fingered hands, the overall proportions, the way the armor is shown in the back, I'll explain more later, and the short, stout nose, my first thought was it's an abelosaur. And I've done a number of videos on abelosaurs. These guys over here we'll see in a minute. But there was nothing here that was unique about it. And I remember thinking, that's really weird. I never heard of it. So I did some research. And of course it turns out this dinosaur is based on two bones. Now, for humans, like yourself, our upper leg bones, the femur, the tibia and fibula are here. Now, this part, all of this, which is like, it's like the ankle's up here, and the foot's bending, this is where the toes are. So, dinosaurs walk on their tippy toes, which is called digigrade, whereas humans walk plantigrade. So the heel is here, this would all be flat in a human. So they only found the tibia and part of the femur. The tibia, the shin bone, and the lower part of the femur. And that's what it's based on. Now, one of the things that I get a lot of questions of, not only from my lectures and my talks and stuff, but also from my wife, who's like not a paleontologist, she's like, how do you find one or two bones and know it's a whole new species? Well, first and foremost, there's several factors. You compare to all the bones of the animals in your area, and if it doesn't match, that implies new species. Second, time period. So, for example, there's the Cretaceous period, there are subsections of time, and the idea is that if you look in your time frame and there are no dinosaurs of this type, it might be a new species, but again, you must compare it to a specimen. And they did that, and so that's how it's known to be an abelosaurus. But here's why I mentioned its lack of facial features. It's because abelosauruses are known for their weird faces. The most popular abelosaur of all is Carnotaurus, and I know I normally don't try to use a non-Jurassic World example, but there's the only Jurassic World of this guy. And Carnotaurus means meat-eating bull. They see horns right here. The other really famous member of this family is called Majungasaurus. Majungasaurus is from Madagascar. Carnotaurus, South America. South America. Another relative is Rajasaurus. These guys have their own videos, if you're wondering, if you're desperately wanting to know more about them. And of course, we have Scorpio venator here. So you're seeing these figures, and they all have, well, they're supposed to have four digits. This one has 3. This one has 3. That's really upsetting. This one has 4, but it's like a opposable one, which is weird. And this one has 3, of course, yes. Why wouldn't it be? It should be 4. And they're really small. So Tyrannosaurs have small arms, we know. The Abelosaurus often has smaller arms than Tyrannosaurs, not only because they're smaller animals, but smaller in proportion to their bodies. So this guy having these tiny arms, like you nailed it. But my question was like, why did they just make a more famous Abelosaur figure? They being Mattel, not the Quilmesaurus. I mean, it's a weird decision. So I'm not against it. It's here. I'm appreciative. Knowing me, I bought another one. Oh, right. The other Abelosaur they made in this line is Rugops, which I made a video for already, but the video was awful, so I'm going to do it again. And this one, oh my goodness, this one has 2 fingers. So, okay, so, sorry, this disgusts my voice. Right, and they're not all to scale. Oh yeah, this one can't stand, that's right. It was a really, the tail is so rat-like. That was why the video, I was just ranting for so long. So the idea is that this guy is a pretty evenly balanced abelosaur. The feet are too big, but it's more of an engineering thing. Oh, the play feature, if you push this button on the back, it's dino damage, not. Dino damage, not. The head, the mouth open, actually, let's see. The mouth can open like that. The head can go up and down, side to side. Like all Jurassic World figures, they have the DNA code you can scan there. The legs, do they move? Yeah, they can lay back like this. So, yeah, and arms can go forward, up and down, and they go out like that. So anyway, so that's Quilmeosaurus in general. So most of the papers published on this animal or analysis are trying to figure out what it is. So, is it a Megalosaurus? Is it there's different theropod groups. The Megasaurs, the Carnosaurs, Solorosaurs, and within that there's subgroups, the Tyrannosaurs, the Dromaeosaurs, right? So they're trying to figure out where it fits in, and it's closest to the Abelosaurus from what they find, or at least the Ceratosaur, their Jurassic ancestor. So that's where it kind of fits in the family tree. As far as time and space goes, we have North Africa, late Cretaceous. We have Madagascar for Mosasaurus. We have, sorry, I should say their names. Rugops is late Cretaceous, North Africa. Mosasaurus is late Cretaceous, Madagascar. Rajasaurus is Cretaceous, India. Now from South America we have Quilmesaurus, Carnotaurus, and Scorpiovenator, but they're from different sections of different regions, so they're not living together, basically. And who did it live with? Well, there are many species known from that site, or at least from that rock layer, but one that there's a toy of is Saltosaurus, which is its own story twin pack, which is a whole another video, another day. It's kind of painful. Saltosaurus, one of the well-known Titanosaurs. So if you're doing your time scale just right with your toys, there you go. So that's Quilmesaurus, allegedly, and Saltosaurus together. Again, you and me and you. That being said, this is an interesting discovery. I did not expect to see this toy, and here it is. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.